Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you had a great holiday season here. My family and I had a joyful season and very thankful, and everybody's well. And I hope that everyone is well in your family as well. There's a few things that I would like to bring to your attention with regards to certain things that's been said. For instance, someone put on social media that the Littleton taxes went up because of the sewer treatment plant. That is not true. Let me make it clear to you. Residential taxpayers are not paying not one dime into that sewer project, with the exception of two things. All of the municipality buildings that are tied into the sewer system, yes, the town is paying for that. So you have some tax money that goes towards that. But that's been ongoing for some time ago. Secondly, if you are a resident and you sign up to be connected to the sewer system, yes, you are paying taxes that will go in to the cost of operating the system, the monthly charge that they would charge you for the sewers, the hookup for your property to be connected and so forth. But other than that, there is no tax that Littleton has put up to pay for the sewer project. That is strictly being done by the people that sign up, and primarily it was the businesses that is carrying the weight, and those residents that sign up are carrying the ball on the sewer project. So make no mistake, there's no increase in your taxes that's paying for that sewer treatment system, with the exception of what I just mentioned. Let me tell you, yes, Littleton taxes goes up every year. I've been here since '97, and the maximum amount that the town can increase the taxes is by 2.5%. They have done that every year that I've been here. They haven't given you a break. Like, instead of charging 2.5, they charge 2 or 2.25, whatever the case is. They always take the max of 2.5. That's how taxes get increased, is by the 2.5%. That is the law. Now, the next part of that is the town is entitled to new growth. So they collect the money on the taxes on the new growth. So between the new growth and the 2.5 evaluation increase on your taxes, that is where your taxes increase. But that is a standard in most communities. Most communities always charge the max of the 2.5%. So Littleton is no exception. There are some places that gives the taxpayer a break of not charging the 2.5. But for here in Littleton, that is how your tax went up. If you see an increase in your tax bill, it's because of the 2.5 and new growth. As far as the sewer project go, your taxes did not go up because of that. So I want to clarify that. People should make sure they get good information when they put it out there on the media, because they put out erroneous information and get something started that's not even true. So thank you on that. With regards to our state representative, Jim Maserio, I asked him in the two bills that I had put in to resubmit those bills, because one of the bills died in the third reading. I was hoping that they would get it out when they got called back into session in the late part of the summer, but they didn't, so it died in session. So with the new session started, I asked him to do that. What was the two bill? One, the bill was a farm bill. The farm bill is that I've been working on it since 2014, and I had been helping Gary Farm at the time to get from commercial rate to farm rate, and the bill would have been able to do that if it had been passed, which would allow farmers within a 10-mile radius that farmers can transport farm equipment without registering their equipment with the Department of the motor vehicle. So they was including farmers that had small plots of land that was within that category of 10 miles radius, that they could get under the 60A program, which means that they could use land that's in another location within that radius and build up to the 5 acres that's required to get under the 60A, 61A. So therefore, they would have been able to change from commercial to farm rates. There's still a lot of farm stands and so forth in the state that still have a need for that bill to get passed to save them money. So we should help the farmers as much as we can. The second bill was that I put in a bill and asked the state to convert the system on rating veterans, disabled veterans, to the same system that the federal government is rating, and to increase the amount up to 90%. If you're at 100%, you get $1,000. Anywhere between 10 to 90, they only give you $450. So I wanted the increments to be increased according to the percentage, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90, and then at the 100, they would get the 1,000. So I'm hoping that we get this bill back in again. It's going to increase the budget a little bit, but they should do that for the veterans. That's disabled veterans, and that money would be to help reduce your property tax. That's what that's about. So I'm very thankful over the 10 years, going on 11, that I've had to resubmit this bill every session. And I thank Mr. Asirio and his staff for resubmitting that bill for me, those bills for me. The other thing I want to talk to you about with regards to, I've been reaching out to Representative Donahue and also Mr. Jim Asirio with regards to the CCC, that's the Cannabis Control Commission, with regard to the situation here in Littleton with this sanctuary over there off of Taylor Street there with the smell of the marijuana there. So I was told on the 13th of December that there will be an inspection by the enforcement team to come out and to ensure that that sanctuary is complying with the standards that are established here in the state of Massachusetts with regards to pollution into our environment. So I'm not sure if they've been out yet or not, but they told me that they will also continue to look into the concerns that I raised with regards to the CCC and what's is being done and not done with regards to that. I also sent a letter to Mr. Jim Asirio, Representative Asirio, and CCC, and also to the town asking that when the CCC comes out, that they notify the town and they notify me with regards when they are coming out. This is the enforcement team that will do the inspection out here, and would like to have the results of whatever the inspection produces when they come out and do their inspection. So that's information with regards to the people in the town of Littleton that's concerned about the smell. I definitely has been trying to stay on top of this and to write letters with regards to not getting response and so forth. And they do have a committee in the legislature that has hearings or have had hearings with regards to the CCC and concerned with how they are operating, what they're doing, and et cetera. So that's why I wrote the letter to Mr. Donahue, who's the chair. It's a joint committee with the House and the Senate with regards to what the problem is here in Littleton and explaining what's been going on and what's been happening, and that they need to look into the CCC regulations as to what is what. On the 20th of December, I had a very long conversation with a Deborah Brown. She's a compliant officer too with the CCC. We had a very long conversation. I said it was at least 30 minutes there. I was explaining to her. First she called me to find out if anyone had responded to me with regards to the letter that I had sent. And that was the letter that Mr. Donahue, in turn, I asked Jim Osorio to check with Mr. Donahue and see what was going on with the letter that I had sent him. So that's when his staff responded to me and said that Mr. Donahue forwarded the letter that I had sent to him to the CCC for the CCC to answer with regards. So she was calling to see if anybody had responded to me. And I told her no, that I hadn't heard from anyone from the CCC. So we sort of kind of went into the depth talk about what I had in the letter and what my concerns were and what the concerns were here, because I didn't quite understand one of the things were that I spoke about in the host agreement, which the select board has with this sanctuary over there. And she was saying that smell now is a concern with the CCC here in the state of Massachusetts. So there's other communities is having the same like problem that Littleton is having with the smell of this marijuana. So I explained to her, but it was said that once you issue the permit, you can't go back and require them to do this or that, being in terms of violations with regards to the smell situation with nothing in place. They're saying, oh, you can't add this, requiring them to do anything. You can't put it in the host agreement. And she said that a lot of things, maybe at the time when this sanctuary was opened up in the town of Littleton, maybe which would have been the planning department, in that special permit, did not put certain criteria in that permit for the sanctuary to comply with. But she said now there is provision now where communities are adding stuff in to the host agreement. The host agreement is being revamped in terms of adding things up to date, what should be in place. And I told that I cannot find how a sanctuary can violate the regulation with regards to the open air and pollute and say you can't do nothing about it, or you can't add something in the host agreement telling them that they need to monitor, do this or do that. So I says, this is something that I do not understand as to why it's being said that you can't go back and make facilities that is in violation come into conformity to what is now required of them. And she said, well, that's something that the CCC is working on, and they've been working on, and there's been changes that has taken place with that host agreement provision with regards to what communities can do. So she said, what you should do is go back and look and see what you have in that special permit that was issued at that time. So I think that's something that planning department needs to keep abreast on what's going on, and I think that the town with the host agreement needs to keep abreast as to what they can add into an action. So those are concerns that I have. That I'm saying, why can't you? Why can't we make them do what needs to be done? A negative pressure system will alleviate the problem if we put it through a carbon charcoal filter system. And that would be that it will suck up, negative pressure will suck up from the flow and go into the system, and it will neutralize in the carbon charcoal filters, and then the air that they draw into that then could be put into the environment without the smell. That's what the problem that people have over there. How long can you take and smell marijuana and say, oh, it's safe? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. They have no statistic on this. This was a new industry that was not vetted like it should have been. These are things that they probably never thought about at the time, because the state was concerned about how much money and telling the municipalities how much money they could get, by putting this into allowing this industry to be in a community. So it was the money that was the key. They weren't concerned about the safety aspects of this here. So this is where I'm bringing this type of information into place now. And she told me that I was doing the right thing by bringing this information to their attention, and they are definitely looking into what's going on with this industry. So I do know that Mr. Donahue, committed there in the legislature, is not happy at all with the CCC. There's a lot of complaints and problems about what's going on, how they doing things, and so forth. So it's an industry now that, from what I understand, unless there's direct contact with support in the local community with regards to that tax that you could tax them, if you don't supply that support to these facilities, you can't collect the taxes on it. So I understand that a lot of community had to return money that they received from facilities and give it back to them. Well, I understand Littleton's been fortunate so far that they haven't had to return. I guess we didn't collect that much in the beginning with regards to it, but we haven't had to return that money. It's always important that vetting the industry, you cover all the safety aspects and requirements to keep the community safe and to ensure that they're not going above the amount that the law allows you to put into the environment. This is all important because right now there's so much stuff that's going on that doesn't have any control over it, and this is one of them right here. How much of this can you put in the environment out there, and where people breathing it in each and every day, every hour of the hour, and say, okay, they're going to be okay. There's no problem. They can do that. What about in the workplace? What about these people working in these facilities? I mean, you got to protect the workers as well. There's a law that's called the right to know. Massachusetts has the law. The federal government has the law, the right to know. So you have the right to know what type of environment, what the hazards are that you have that you're up against, and what protection that you're required to have to protect you. they need to have this protection gear and provide it to the employees, which is very important. I'm going to be doing a coffee meeting with Representative General Cyril in the soon here with regards to the purchase of some land that Nick and the general manager in Lilton Light is working on some properties that he's trying to get the results of is for discharge, because as it stands right now, the school has is 242 gallons, 1,000 gallons of discharged water that can be discharged at the discharge site up at the high school there, which they put in here last year or completed last year with regard. And he's also trying to get another 60,000 gallon site up there that they can put in, which would get them up to the 300 and said 302,000 gallons that they would like to have the capacity. As it stands right now, they have the capacity as it stands right now, which is on the common area. They'll be able to take in the businesses up there and the few residents that have signed up, but at that point, they've maxed out at the number right now with regards to the 242,000 gallons that they are authorized to discharge up there daily. So that facility was put in and that was done. As you know, late in 2024, we gave the approval of the bylaw, which allows us to put in 150 housing down off of Taylor Street down there by the train station there, and the other 600 was going to be put in up at 550 King Street up here. Well, that housing that of 750 units that Lilton approved, well, the calculation of that is not in the 242,000 gallons a day discharge that sewer treatment plant will be able to discharge once it's up and running. So we have a station, the sewer plant there. It's a one-size plant. It can go up to X without increasing the plant size or anything of that nature. So we have that capacity to discharge a small amount or a large amount. But in order to discharge, you need somewhere to put the clean water. And that's the problem that Lilton is going to have with this $32 million plant that they're building, which the business is going to be on there. The more that's on there, the lower they'll be able to charge a little bit in terms of discharging and cleaning the water. But as it stands right now, they're going to be paying at the max with the limited amount of people that's going to be on the system. And therefore, you need more land to discharge. And this is what I'm going to meet with Representative Jim Maserio, which I had the general manager at the Lilton Light to send Representative Maserio email with regards to what he thought that he may need for more money. And I initially had put in like $3.3 million that I told Mr. Maserio that I thought would help in terms of buying land and getting it perked. And we have to establish it where that it will take, according to DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, will be the one to give the approval and say, yes, you can discharge this amount on this land site here. So what we need now is money to buy land. Land is getting scarce, in the town because you got a lot of people buying up land and they're building, homes and so forth. So we need to get some land that we can develop and increase in case we have more residents would like to get on the septic system. It's the nitrogen from the septic systems that is getting into the groundwater. That is a big problem. So we was going to have to put in a sewer treatment plant sooner or later once we reached a certain number with that nitrogen level getting into the water. So that is a problem all across the nation. Here in Littleton, we're trying to create a situation that's a green environment for Littleton where that we'll stop putting in septic system and tying into the sewer system. That's what the long goal is to do that. So, but right now, the hookup fee is probably around $42,000 to hook up on the system. And then you got to pay to have the hookup to your system into the system. And then you got to dispose of your septic system. And then you have to pay the monthly fee for discharge that you put into the system now. So it's a lot that's involved, but at the same token, it takes money. And this money that I'm talking about, there's grant money out there. And we're trying to get grants. And you can earmark monies for this. It's like when I found out that that the solar system for the senior system was cut out of the budget, I immediately got a hold to Mr. Jim Osorio office up there and says, what about getting some money here for the solar? It was like $100,000, give or take, that was cut out of the budget. So I would like for you to do this. They said, well, we haven't received anything. So George, have them to send a letter up here and tell us, what they need, and we'll get it put in. So I did. I got a hold to Liz, the director there, and at that time, the assistant town administrator there, and asked them to send this letter, which they did up there, and Jim Osorio, along with over the Senate side there, James Eldridge, they got $100,000 earmarked for the solar system that's going in there, and he was down in his newsletter taking a picture where they were showing to give him the $100,000. But I'm the one that initially called the legislator up there and told him that the money had been dropped, and let's see if you can get some money, for it. So that's how we end up getting $100,000 for the solar system now to put on the senior center there. So I just wanted to point that out, that the working that I do with the state representative, Jim Osorio, has been very productive for the town of Littleton because he has really gotten a lot of grant money for the town of Littleton. And the other thing is that besides the sewer system, I'm asking him to help Littleton by trying to find some grant money, which he was able to find some money to get our voting booths, which in the shamans condition right now, but we want to be able to take and get new booths there and get in the 21st century with our voting equipment there. As you know, we have the clicker now, so we're stepping up into the 21st century now. This is something that's been going on. If we get the new booth, then we'll get the new voting machines, which will do the tabulation once you put your ballot into it, so forth. So we're looking at getting about 4 of those, because sooner or later, once you hit the 10,000 mark on population, you got to go to a 4th precinct. So we are working on that. And I've been working with Madam Clerk Diane there with regards to finding money, and I was able to find $15,000 there through Mr. Jim Asirio, which ended up the manager down at LEW, Light and Water, had a grant that they would be able to give to Madam Clerk with regards to buying these new booths that we're going to need here with the voting system here. So I'm very thankful for the Littleton Light and Water, the commissioners down there that saw the need to help Madam Clerk here and the town and the citizen here with a very needed item that the town definitely needs. So I'm thankful for that. So we're looking at getting grant money for that. And the signs that they put out that display on the roadside there that tells you what's going on, et cetera. We're trying to get 2 of those for the clerk so that she can put out the signs and let people know when the election is going on, whatever's going on, town meeting, et cetera, what's going on. So hopefully, and pray that, we'll be able to get some money there, that he'll be able to earmark some money for Littleton with regards to that. And I appreciate your prayers in that area. Lastly, I want to talk to you with regards to, there have been many citizens have asked me to talk a little bit about the town meeting and stabilization fund. They don't seem to understand exactly how the town functions, sort of kind of as a whole. And many bits and pieces that the town has to work with. And the town meeting is just happen to be one of them, and that's close to the tail end of doing what needs to be done. As you know, a budget is put together. They base it upon, like I said, new growth, the increase of Prop 2.5, how much they're going to have. The biggest cost that you have here in the town of Littleton is the overhead. The overhead cost in this town is employees. It's employees, salary, and benefits. That is where the most of the money that goes in the budget that you vote in every year. So they calculate what they have, what they can raise, and once they come up with that figure, then they get together with the departments, and they look at the departments, let's call it nice to-do list. They have a list that they would like to get money for this, do this, do this. That's in addition to the overhead. That's the benefits, the salary, insurance, and so forth, and retirement and so forth. In addition to that, you have the department would like to spend money for this and for that. So they go through and they present that to the select board, and with the finance, they look at what is it they really truly need. And they have a long-term, short-term, capital improvement. The biggest that you'll find is that probably the DPW, Department of Public Works. They have equipment down that they're using all the time for the snow and et cetera. So we need to keep our streets and so forth clean and keep the equipment running and so forth and so on. The mowers to cut the grass and so forth and so on. So it is a department. Then you got the fire department. The fire department have the ambulance and so forth and so on. Although we have a little enterprise program with that, but still, these vehicles put a lot of miles on it. They end up having to replace it. So that's a capital item. Then you got the police department. You got the police department. These cruisers on the road all the time, and they just get worn out. So when it comes up, they says, okay, who needs what bad? Then they start prioritizing this, and they come up with, and let's just say, for instance, they got $10 million for the capital improvement that they can, spend. So they go through and they prioritize who truly really needs what equipment there. So that's how that system works, and they put it together, and then they vote on it, the select board along with FinCom, and say, okay, this is manageable, this is doable, we can come up, we can raise the money. Anytime you come up and you say you need this amount of money and so forth and so on, you got to find a means of where do you get that money? How do you get that money? So it's not only that they're doing local and saying, yeah, we can do this and do that. Let me tell you one thing. Before that budget is approved and said you have the green light to go and do it, it has to go to the DOR. That's Department of Revenue. They will check everything there is about that budget, and they will tell Littleton whether you need to change this or change that or add this, do this or do that, and so forth and so on. They are the final approval that says, okay, Littleton, your budget is balanced and you have our permission to go forth and collect. The DOR, Department of Revenue, looks at our budget before. So when they present the budget at the town meeting, they come in and tell you how much it is and so forth and so on. So all these bits and pieces behind, the doors has been put in place, and now they're bringing it to you. They're bringing one big number to you, saying now the budget is $60 million, $598. And they saying, now we want you to approve this. And you say, well, to approve this, you coming in with a big number here to tell them that. Well, the town offer every citizen the opportunity to come to these hearings. When they have the budget process going on, you can come in and ask and talk and so forth and so on, if you would like to do that. If you don't, that's fine. But the fact is, they do it, and then they come to you at the town meeting, and you get just a snap view of what monies that's been calculated in to be spent for the year and so forth, and then here's the bottom line. And this is the bottom line that we need for you to approve. So that's how the budget gets into place. So then after you approve of it, then they got to come back, and 9 times out of 10, that as you well know, they do the taxes in November, usually around the first week of November, and they decide based on what is needed. And like I said, this budget has to be approved. You approve it, and then the DOR approve it. If there's something that the DOR think that is not possible, they tell them adjust it. No, we don't see that you're going to be able to provide this, so you need to cut this back. So you have another protector there, the DOR, because they're looking at your ability to do this. And they're not going to let you go out there on the limb and spend money that you're not able to collect. And that's a safe net, and that's a good net that we have the Department of Revenue comes in and looks into this. So I just wanted to bring a few things to your attention and let you know that a lot of people say, well, how is it that, we building the new school, Shaker Lane? How is it that, we building a new senior center here? How is it that we're building the 36 King Street up there with the building that we bought there? That's 4.5 million. I guess we put less than 4 in it, so let's call it $8 million. The old band, can't think of the name of it right this minute there, but up there by the high school, 36 King Street up there. How is that they come up with this money? But then when they come up to negotiations in the town with the employees, which is non-union, when they come up with the union, how is it that you don't have any money when you started talking to us about renewing the contracts and so forth and so on. But you can spend money, the $1 million. They hopped on the senior center over there, 18 million, 18.5, and by the time you finish paying, you got $20 million. How do you come up with this money? But then you can't tell us the little money that you need to renew our contract for 3 years, you don't have no money. And you don't want, to tell us that how you come up with all this other money that you got. Well, let me tell you, it's very simple. In the stabilization, they started back a few years ago. They put let me clarify one thing for you. You hear them talk about this free cash. There is no such thing as free cash, okay? There's no such thing as free cash. There's no free cows. When they're talking about free cash, they're talking about excess tax money you paid to the town of Littleton, okay? That's excess tax money you paid to the town of Littleton. Somewhere throughout the system, they were able to save here or that went down or whatever the case was, so they come up with this extra money they call free cash. There's no such thing as free cash. It's excess taxpayers' money that the town has that is yours, okay? So what they've done with the stabilization is like setting up an account. It's like you have an account, like you got a CD account with your bank. You got a checking account with your bank. You got a savings account with your bank. So you put money in it. Well, this is what they've done 1 year after year, put money into the stabilization. So I believe they had in the stabilization for the senior center, it was either $5 or $6 million they had over there in the stabilization there. So this is how that money get put into place, and they come in and they go out and they get a bond for these items that they have. The senior center is a bond. They was able to put money into place, and now they have the opportunity to get a good rate. And by the way, because we pay our bills and we do such a good job, and when I say we're talking about the taxpayers and everybody in the town and the managers that we have, which FinCom does a fantastic job in letting us know where we need to be at in order to keep our rating, triple rating bond, which means that you can borrow money at a better rate. Monies that we're doing and building certain things with the Littleton Light and Water Department, we're doing it with a 0 interest rate. So it's a lot of advantage to us to understand how things happen. So when it comes up to these unions and employees, I sent a letter to the select board and told them you need to put a stabilization fund in place. In other words, you got 3 to 4 years. You can put a little bit of money in the stabilization that can work towards the cost of living, pay raise, and the renewal of the contract. So I may very well ask you as citizens, because I think that's a good idea to do that, come to the annual election, all I need is 10 people to sign a petition, is to put in a stabilization that will address, the union contract, cost of living for the employees, and the raise for the employees, and require off of the top of the budget for the town of Littleton to put X dollars in there every year. So I think that's a good thing. We need to smarten up as to how we conduct business so that we don't run into a problem of dragging out our contracts with the employees. There's nothing worse than having unhappy employees working because you can't sell a contract. So there are things that we can do better. And I was a contracting officer for the federal government for about 15 years, so I understand contracting, I understand how things work. And there's a better way if we plan. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. So we can do better than what we've been doing. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity here today to bring you abreast with a little bit of what I'm doing as one person in the town of Littleton, because I am concerned and I like to make sure that Littleton is getting its share of whatever it is. And the only way we do that is that we tell those that are in position what we need. And I'm famous for telling them what Littleton need, not what George Sanders need, what Littleton need, and how to help us. And I thank you for what all our citizens are doing and volunteering and helping the town of Littleton, because nobody gets paid as a volunteer. I want to thank you. God bless you. And let's look forward to a very prosperous new year. Thank you, and good day.